All right, welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, and we are Good Rookies.
That's
Guys, we
right.
are episode number 6.
Number
We
6.
got some experts in the building today. These are journalists, these are professionals, and we're so excited to have them on our show. There are definitely hashtag goals. So, Faheem, please introduce our guests this evening.
Oh, man, I'm hyped tonight. On the podcast tonight, episode number 6. First of all, Nelly J, I have a question. How many people in this world right now can say that they represented their country and ran on the same track in the same heat as Usain Bolt?
Yo, I don't think anyone can, except for maybe like one person, maybe two people, 3, 4. It's very rare.
In 1 through 6, right? That's right.
Yeah, that's very rare.
Yeah. So, we're blessed tonight to have Anson Henry.
Respect. What's up, everybody?
Canadian
Good?
Olympian.
You guys are too kind, man. You guys are way too kind. Yeah, it's good.
So, Anson, tell the folks a bit about your background and what you do now, what you're up to.
Okay, so first off, me and Janelle know each other from back in the day when I was at church. You know what I'm saying? So she used to go to Agape, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I was in Scarborough Church, so that's how we originally met. I ended up running track like really late in my high school life. It went better than I expected. Went away to school, went away to the Olympics. After the Olympics, just wanted to stay close to the sport. Got into broadcasting. I like to tell stories. I like to still bridge the gap between the world and the athletes. And, that's what I'm doing right now.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
And I just actually have a question. You want to get into anything else you got going on right now?
Right now, it's been a lot of transitioning because it's a new world now, right? So it's
Right.
a lot of what we're doing right now. Everyone's remote, so I'm doing a lot of editing from home, just producing certain projects, features, a mini doc that I'm kind of trying to get together, and that's about it, man. Just a lot of producing, editing, and then I'll go into the studio every so often, to do some work with my employers, CBC. And it's kind of weird that building right now. It's still kind of empty, you know what I'm saying? So, we go in every so often, all the precautions are being taken, and it's all about adapting right now, man.
Facts.
Well, we're glad to have you on tonight.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. And guest number 2, I must say, in his own right, he does this thing. He has his own podcast called the Big O Podcast. We have Julian.
Woo!
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be here. Let me start off by saying I'm a big fan. Love what you guys are doing. Love the conversations that you guys are having. The way you guys break down the categories. So to me, it's an honor to be here tonight.
I must say, how I came across Julian was kind of organic. I came across his feed on Instagram, and I clicked on it, and I was impressed. And I said, you know what, let me check out another episode. And I was impressed more. And I was like, I really like his style, very conversational. So if you have an opportunity, check out the Big O Podcast.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
I'm intrigued, man.
Yes.
There we go. We got one
that link
person
afterwards, yo. Yeah, let me check that out.
It's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Saying you sold me, yo.
And Faheem, this episode, we didn't chant our guest names, so let's chant them now. Anson, Julian. Don't really chat you guys in, but we're so excited to have you guys. We forgot our actual script. Okay. Anyways, so we have a question for you guys before we get into the episode. A little intro question. So because you guys are both journalists, you guys are very well are good storytellers. I want to know if you can pick someone right now that you can interview. They say, hey, pick anyone you want on this planet. You can interview. It could be an artist, musician, athlete. Who would you choose to interview right now and why? Just out of curiosity. So I'll go with Julian first.
So obviously for those who are watching, you can see it over my shoulder. Nice little Kobe painting. Kobe was my guy, Mamba mentality, first basketball player I ever sort of grew up watching. Digging through the archives of some old stuff, I actually came across some old N64 video games, Kobe Bryant's courtside basketball. He would be my guy. He would be someone who I'd want to talk to right now, especially because of the global climate, more specifically in the United States. And, everything that he sort of stood for, he was a leader. Even when it was unpopular, he was a leader. Not a lot of people liked his style while he was here, but understood and, decided to change their game, like a guy like Damian Lillard, started to really embrace that Mamba mentality. And in the second chapter of his life, he really started to embrace his family. So he put sort of the NBA on hold and started focusing on Gigi and, getting her ready for, the WNBA and really making the girl dad thing super popular. I would love to, see him and talk to him and see what he thinks of what's going on right now and what he would stand for and what changes and social decisions he would make, during 2020.
Yeah, good point, because like MJ is doing a lot of things right now that I'm right now during this climate. So I can imagine if Kobe was alive, what he would be doing to kind of further the movement. So
For sure.
Yeah, great answer. How about you, Anson? Who would you want to interview?
I would want to sorry, I'd want to interview Dave Chappelle. I think that he's got a really cool perspective on life, on Black people, on just comedy. He's candid, but he's relatable. He's able to convey a message. Even if it's kind of a tricky situation or something that's tough to talk about, but he makes it possible. He makes it funny. He makes it makes you think. And if I was interviewing, I wouldn't even need him to be funny. You know what I'm saying? He just seems like a pretty cool dude. He just seems pretty level-headed, and the humor is very natural. I've always admired him as a speaker and just a storyteller and all that stuff. So yeah.
Nice. That's a
Big
good
up.
one.
And Dave Chappelle actually won an Emmy this weekend, so big up to him.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he won an Emmy, and he was like, "F you people," because I think it's for his stand-up, and he had so many critics against that stand-up. So he was like, "F you critics, I won!" Like, it was hilarious. Even his speech was funny. Like when he accepted his speech, I could imagine talking to him in person.
I'm gonna look that speech up. Yeah.
Check it out, man. It's hilarious.
yeah, for sure.
Faheem, man, zoned in, zoned out.
Right. So let's go to zoned in, zoned out. So first and foremost, we have, let's say, like all the leagues. Like, first of all, COVID affected everybody, right? But there is one league that chose not to reopen and try and get things going. That's the CFL, Canadian Football League. So let's just throw this around real quick. Good, bad, yes, no. Like, where's your opinion in regards to CFL and for going the season?
So I'm kind of like annoyed by Canada's entire approach towards sports. First of all, they don't like the Blue Jays playing in Canada, so they're playing in Buffalo. CFL canceled, but the hockey league is going strong in Canada. So I just feel like, why is it that they green lighted the hockey league, NHL? They're playing in Canada, everyone's fine. But when it came to MLB, I think MLB is because they were traveling, so they don't want people. But still, it can be controlled if you organize like them being tested before they go on the plane. Like, there's ways to manage it. But I feel like Canada, like Ottawa, canceled MLB. They're like, nope, we don't care what you guys want to do. We're not doing it. CFL, they actually asked for a loan. I think about $30 million to a loan, not free money, but for a loan, and they said no to them. So I'm like, I'm sure if the CFL said Canadian Football Hockey / League, they would have gotten the loan because it's hockey. But because it's football, Ottawa's like, we don't care because it ain't hockey. So I think it's because people who are making the decisions for these loans are not football fans. I'm sure with guys, look, for real though. Let's be real. If it was a hockey league asking for a loan, will they tell them no? Of course not. It's hockey. So I think it's pretty biased because they want to have a league, but because they had no money to have a league. Plus last year, CFL lost money. So it kind of sucks. I feel bad, because the athletes want to play. These guys are American. They want to come up and play. It just sucks that there's no league, and I feel bad for the athletes who are making no money off of the CFL. So that kind of sucks.
Now, this may be a very unpopular opinion that I'm about to have, and I
like
apologize ahead of time. But you said a lot of things, and a lot of things make sense. But there are apples and there are oranges. Number one, with the CFL, it has an exclusive TV deal with TSN. So the only network that broadcasts their games are TSN. So they don't have other markets, other channels that are going to pick it up. And they are a gate-driven league, which means the only revenue that they typically make are for fans coming in and buying tickets to the game, buying merchandise, spending money in the stadiums, which we know in Canada wasn't going to happen. No. So a part of what they wanted was they wanted a larger sum of money than $30 million. They eventually came down to $30 million to try to get an interest-free loan, which the Canadian government had no interest in doing. And I sort of, like, I understand. Now, the NHL and MLB are two very different things. The NHL had all of the teams competing in Canada, which basically meant the Western Conference teams played in Edmonton, the Eastern Conference teams played in Toronto, and they were bubbled. There wasn't any travel outside of the bubble. They only played at their arena, and that was sort of it. Whereas Major League Baseball, not the comparison you might want to sort of compare to, because they were a mess. They had to completely change how they were going to evaluate teams winning and losing, because not every team was going to play the same amount of games, because they had teams where 5, 6, 7, up to 15 people tested positive and they had to cancel games. Yeah. So they went from wins and losses to win percentage, because teams were going out in Cleveland having themselves a good time. You know, Lou Williams can sort of attest to that, Magic City. Which is my first shot at the Clippers, many more to come. But, I mean, so the Canadian Football League was very different. They wanted to go to Manitoba. They wanted to try to get it to happen. But unfortunately, they just don't have the draw. They've been losing money, unfortunately, for years. And so Canada, who's already going through this pandemic as much of the world is sort of looking at it as, can I recoup my cost? Is it going to make sense? And from a business decision, when we have companies going out of business and we're not really sure how we're going to give people money, giving $30 million interest-free to a Canadian Football League, I don't think was the smartest bet. So, you know what? Shout out to the Canadian government for doing something right.
Right.
Well, I kind of feel similar along the same lines as Julian, in the way that was probably a better idea. Now, I'm only saying this because, by the way, Janelle, you like a really big CFL fan or something? Because
no. Like I just think that CFL gives athletes a chance to get into the NFL. So if they don't play in CFL, then they don't really get that
so it's platform. That. Okay. I didn't want to offend you any further by
no. I mean, no.
Okay. So
big CFL
but I think that, you know, they lost money the season before. So there's obviously some bleeding that's happening. And I think that, you know, behind closed doors, we don't know what's going on with, you know, the CEOs and the commissioners and stuff like that. So, I mean, they might have just opted out because it might slow the bleeding moving forward. And then they can kind of recover during this period and then left off maybe after taking a hiatus after the pandemic. So I think it's probably best to do that. And I honestly think it, and I'm not getting on the league or anything like that. I'm just saying, I don't think it was that severely missed here in Canada, especially on the East. Now on the West Coast, absolutely. Here in Toronto, we have so many other options in like the larger sports that we may kind of lean more into that direction. So I think it was missed less in this area. And in Canada in general, I mean, we're the most popular area. So, I mean, I think that's kind of, it was kind of for the better, in my opinion.
I'm going to try and connect some dots because I agree with all your points. Everything you're saying, I'm like, okay, you guys are all on point with this. So we keep speaking about the amount that they've lost. So looking at it's around the range of 20 million. That was last year, right? The most profitable CFL team is Saskatchewan Roughriders, and they do about 1.5 million in profit. Now, in regards to Anson, you're saying about the East, which is true. Like Montreal suffering, Toronto suffering, Far West BC suffering. Those markets, like you mentioned, have other things going on. Like in BC, they have the Whitecaps. They have like there's just so much going
That's what
on.
I'm saying. Yeah.
Like, but you go to those, like you go to Calgary or you go to Edmonton, or you go to Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers. Like you go to those where it's like just a one trick pony there. Like if you're a sports fan in those cities, like you're hurting. You know what I'm saying? Because that is like that's your identity. That's that. You know what I'm saying? It's tough, right? So, just a quick question, because I looked at myself in my phone. I don't have any friends that I could say, if I called them at any time, would say, hey, you know what? I'm watching a CFL game on TSN. So I'm gonna throw it around real quick. Nelly J, do you have any friends in your phone that would say, you know what? Call me back later. I'm watching the CFL.
So I have friends who played in the CFL. That's why. Like, you know,
Me
RJ
too.
Anthony,
Me too.
Anthony, like, you know, RJ Franklin from back in the day. He played in the CFL.
Oh, for real?
He played for.
Yeah, I got a bunch of people. I went to.
Yeah,
I
so I have
States,
friends that do actually, their fans are big. I think in Hamilton, is the Hamilton's team.
Yeah,
but they have some huge fans in like Hamilton, a smaller town. So I have friends that would watch it. Not all my friends, because I think right now, because we have like every sport happening, like, and it's a lot. We're okay, but I have friends who actually do follow. They own tickets. They go every year. So I do have friends that actually that do watch CFL.
All right. How about you, Julian? Yeah, you have any friends in your phone that you could say you could call up and say, hey?
Come on. I mean, they play on Friday nights. So number one, you know, like for me, it's a little bit different. You know, I have 2 young kids. I live in Mississauga. I mean, that life, I'm not about that life anymore.
Right.
But all of my friends who are, you know, single or don't have kids, like Friday nights, they're not spending watching, you know, CFL. However, you know, the Grey Cup is still a thing. And, you know, to Nelly's point, sure, Hamilton has its fan base, but no disrespect, but what else are you going to do in Hamilton on a Friday night? Right. So I mean, like they're gonna have that fan base. And as much as, you know, the Edmontons and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Calgary Stampeders are going to have the greatest fan bases and probably do the most money, the CFL is only going to be as strong as the Toronto market dictates. If Toronto is going strong and people are going to the games and people are tuning in, the CFL will thrive. It's why more often than not, they try to put the Grey Cup into Toronto, because they know that they will have the most people travel from Montreal to come and see the games, the Hamiltons.
Right.
But if Calgary and Edmonton are deadlocked in 2 perfect seasons, I don't think that it's going to really generate the same buzz as if a Toronto Argonauts are in there. And no disrespect, I have 2 friends, close friends, who were both on the Toronto Argonauts. Shout out Matt and Eric Black. But I mean, unfortunately, the CFL, it is what it is. It's in a little bit of trouble, even for 2021.
Okay, so in less than a minute, I just want to go around something real quick. CFL has CFL 2.0, where they're looking to draft players from Mexico and from Europe. Reason why they're thinking about doing that is to try and get players from those markets, so then they can actually broadcast games in those markets. Real quick, just yes or no, good strategy or bad strategy? Nelly J.
I'll be quick. If the NFL can't do it, CFL can't do it. Period. The NFL's been trying, and they have not done it. So what will the CFL? I mean, drafting a player, and who in Mexico is playing football? Who in Mexico, like, they're playing soccer, football. They're playing baseball. They're not playing no American football in Mexico. Get the hell out of here. Sorry, go ahead, Julian.
And if they're not playing American football in Mexico, they're sure as hell not playing Canadian football.
Oh, hell.
I'm sorry, but that's just terrible.
Anson.
I don't know, why not? I'll try a thing. I'm just saying, it's whatever's going on right now ain't working. So I mean, why not just try a thing? If they can do it, if they can make it happen. Maybe we don't necessarily know if it's gonna work out, but to be honest, now that we're even talking about it, if they put like a twist on it like this, and I know that they're doing it, I think I'd watch. I think I'd be like, yo, let me check this. This is kind of new. This is kind of different. So, yeah, why not?
Okay, but Anthony,
I'm guaranteed going to watch that now if it happens. What's that?
No, but Anthony, who is actually playing American football in Mexico?
Because there ain't CFL 2.0. Once the CFL 2.0 is in place,
yes,
you're going to have all kind of kids coming.
Canadian?
They're going to make it happen.
How much paid in CFL? What, $50K maximum?
Something like that. You need a second job.
Mexico.
I mean, But the thing is, like, you already have the opportunity to draft those kinds of players. I mean,
right now I could do it.
Like The Rock came in after he left Miami University to come play in the Canadian Football League. So there's nothing stopping them right now. But to broadcast now, TSN's going to spend that money. I think that is going to further sink an investment into trying to expand to, Mexico or anywhere else.
Right. True indeed. All right. Let's go to our second zoned out part. It has to do with Caster Semenya. Now, I'm just going to lay it out. I have Anson, since he's the expert, fill in what I missed, okay? So it goes like this. She's a South African middle distance runner, runs the 800. She was born a female, but has more testosterone to levels where it's borderline male.
Okay, so this topic's tricky. It's very
right.
Very good arguments on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just stating the facts.
Okay,
right?
Before you get to facts, I just want to state this. So
but part of the story that you started with, I just want to clear something up.
Okay,
cool. You said she was born a female, right?
Right.
XX chromosomes is female and XY is male, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so to my knowledge, what I know, she was born with XY. You see what I'm saying? But was identified as a female upon birth. Now that's what the facts that I have, that's what it is. We can check it right now just to make sure, but as far as I know, that's what it is. So go on, continue with what you were saying.
Okay, so she has been by the IAAF said she's no longer allowed to run longer distance races. So she's banned from that due to the fact of her body producing that level of testosterone.
Right.
Okay.
So I have a little background on that if you want.
No, go ahead. Floor is yours.
Yeah, so sorry.
Okay.
So to add to Anson's point, it says that she has 46XY DSD, that's why her chromosome is a bit different from actual XY, like actual male and female. She's XY DSD, which is a bit different from just XY as a male chromosome.
So is it right between or?
Yeah, I think like her number is pretty in the middle, but the science behind her chromosome, they're saying it's flawed. Like the grounds is kind of like, the claim is not, because she has, I think it's androgenizing effect, which is a syndrome that she has. And it causes her to have that XY DSD.
Yeah, that's the main. Yeah, that's the main.
It's a hypoandrogenism. It's high levels of
she's hypoandrogenism.
Right. High levels of testosterone. So
yes.
But as far as I've seen, she was born a female.
Okay.
Without keep like she has female genitalia, we'll say. So apparently she does, like, she's a woman, just she's producing.
She is a woman.
She's okay. So she's a woman and
she's
producing.
a woman.
Okay. So now that we have that basis here, that she was banned. Go ahead, Anson. Looks like.
But I was saying, when I'm saying she's a woman, I'm not necessarily basing on what you're saying right now. I'm just saying she's a woman because that's what she's identifying herself with. So she's a woman. Yes. But as far as what you're saying, it wouldn't be classified as a woman per se. You see what I'm saying? Like, as far as the facts that we're getting, that we're talking about, yeah. I mean, but if we're talking about who she is, she's a woman.
She's a woman, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, as far as, what you're saying right now, no, it's a little bit, that's where it gets a little bit, people's antennas raised because they're hearing
because
those levels of chromosomes, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So sorry, I just wanted to get things.
It's good.
As far as the female genitalia, also, from what I know, I believe she has, I believe that she has testicles. So this is the thing. I don't even know how much of this, like, this is her personal business, right? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I think they tracked, because when you go to the doctor, not everybody knows what's going on with you. You know what I'm saying? So like her basic file is being presented to the world, which I'm not necessarily.
Exactly.
I feel it for her, you know what I'm saying? But these are the facts that we have. All I'm doing is stating the facts that we have, right? So
Fair enough.
I believe that she has, testicles as well.
Oh,
so
okay. I thought she had ovaries, but
So I'm just going to quickly just jump in on this
Go
one.
ahead,
So
Julian.
in the research, when they identify children at birth, they assign either a male or female based on genitalia. But with Semenya, she actually has inner testes. So while she doesn't have testicles that are on the outside, she does not have ovaries. So she actually has
Exactly.
Exactly. Results in the high amount of testosterone that she is producing. Now, she's not the only one by any means,
right.
but any time where things are seen outside of the norm, especially by the Olympic Committee, for instance, they tend to try to level the playing field when it comes to sex, as opposed to, other enhancements that someone may have. Like Oscar Pistorius, one of the arguments they had with him was because he was born without legs, or that he didn't have legs, the blades were considered an advantage, a performance enhancing advantage. So just to clear some of those things up.
No, thank you. Nelly J, if you can
to add to you, because like what she has is the actual disorder, sexual development disorder. So she's not either or, but she was born. They called her female when she was born, and she grew up female, right?
Yep.
But because of her disorder, the science that's kind of archaic, they're saying, well, you can't be both, and all we have is male or female. So you can't be female because you're not a female. So like it's like they're trying to put her in a category, but she's unique. She's different. So it's not really fair how they're making her like disorder like a flaw. You know what I'm saying? It's like she was born this way. It's not like she asked for this. She's not asking for handouts. She trains hard. She works hard like any other athlete, but she was born with this disorder. Other athletes have been born with additions that like Michael Phelps. He has an advantage in the way he I think it's lactic acid.
Yeah, lactic acid, the way his body produces it.
Yeah, so but he's like glorified but he's kind of like cheating for the last he's been cheating for a while. But guess what? Because he has extra long limbs, I think his ankles are double jointed. Like he has a whole bunch of stuff that's unique to him, but he gets like glorified. And this woman, yes, she has a disorder that makes her stronger and faster, but if that was a man and he had a disorder to make him strong faster, would they tell him he can't compete because he's a man and too much of whatever? Because she's a woman, they're like, oh, you're a woman, and women must have this look or have this in their system. I feel like it's very sexist, and I think that's why, like, I don't know. I think how they're treating her is unfairly. It's a disorder. She was born this way. I don't think she should not be able to compete against in the Olympics. If she can do it, why not, right? And it's tricky because the science behind it is very old school. It's not forward thinking at all. So that's just my point on the entire situation.
Sex and gender scare a lot of people, especially when it comes to things that are competitive. A perfect example is there's an MMA fighter named Fallon Fox who is a transgender, but was a man, now is trans, fights, identifies as a woman, is fighting with other women, and actually broke the skull of her latest opponent. And then the argument becomes, do you let a man fight a woman? And we start to blur these lines of where we sort of, are, right? And Nelly brought it up. This is very archaic. Now, they did say that she is allowed to compete, right? She's not going to be able to compete the way that she is now. She has to undergo treatment that reduces the amount of testosterone that would allow her to compete in the 800 and 1500 meter races that she thrives in.
Yeah.
But she's making the argument that she shouldn't have to do that because she has a syndrome, and why are they going to regulate that? And that is really, let her compete. Let her compete in what she does. Like you said, Michael Phelps has longer arms than everybody else, but we don't, let him not compete against other men just because he has a distinct advantage. Let her do what she's got to do.
Also, so this is kind of an issue because she's winning. She's dominating that 800. And does she do the 1500? I know she does the 800.
She did it for fun, but she was doing well at it. She did the 400 as well too, and did well at it. But,
but her specialty is the 800, right?
Yeah.
So it's because she's winning why this is an issue. If she was losing, like say for instance, she was not excelling in this. Do you think they still ban her from it?
It's a good question, actually. But according to the rules, yes, they would.
You think
So,
they
I
would?
mean, because her levels are high, so that's going to come up in whatever tests they do, anyways.
But her
So,
levels have been high for a lot. Like it's not like she's new. Since she's been tested. Okay, when she first came out, I was researching that she wasn't dominating right away. She was running and she was losing races. She was late in heat. Like she was not she like most runners eventually got to a point of excellence. She didn't just come on the scene as some kind of like shining star, right?
She's
right.
not like Spider-Man, like,
Right.
like got bit
No,
by a
she's not.
spider,
She's not.
and now she's like,
She's not.
she's
You have to remember,
not
though.
that Marvel. You know what I'm saying? Like she
Yeah.
had to work hard to get there. Like,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You have to remember. I mean, the women she's racing are very, very fast. None of us are going to go out there with them. They'll dominate. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, anything. They're going to dominate most of the planet, aside from some men who train and
Right.
compete. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, she'd have to do something to be able to. She'd have to do something to be able to run with those females for sure. She's not just walking on the track and running like that.
And I seen her times. Her times, even at right now, like her peak, her times they say are 2% faster than her field. So it's not like she's blowing her field out the water. Like there's still an opportunity for someone in her field to take her on any given night. It's just they haven't get it done, right?
And
they haven't gotten it done. But see, this is the thing. I think while both sides are strong, a lot we hear a lot from the athlete perspective, because the athletes, you have to remember, these track and field athletes, all they do is live, breathe, think how to get a tenth, an inch, a thousandth off of their personal best. So every single advantage you can get is a big deal. So if you hear about this type of advantage, then they're like, well, I mean, wow, that's what most of the athletes are going to say. You know what I'm saying? But from the other side, I mean, you're looking at it. This is a woman. She has a condition. She tried to take what she had to take to be able to compete on the lower levels, and she was getting destroyed. She was, because it's not her. It's not. She basically was not herself. So she got annihilated, and that's why she doesn't want to go back to that life, obviously, because she's like, I mean, I'm doing this for them, kind of, and it's not me. So both sides are firm in how they look at things, because I mean, it's a woman, so she should compete with the women. But as if you're looking at the advantages, it's a pretty significant advantage of what the condition grants her, as far as from a performance standpoint. It's pretty significant. So that's why.
Question, Anson, like with Michael Phelps, right? Was his condition well known when he was competing, or did it only come out afterwards? Because I think if everyone knew that he had an advantage of what he could actually do you think it'd be the same issue with Michael Phelps?
I think they would have had something to say about that. I don't think they measure. Well, I don't think they measure your lactose tolerance or your lactate tolerance. So maybe that's not something that's even measurable, even though we know that he may have that type of makeup. So, I mean, if it's not measurable, then you can't test for it. And then it comes into, well, just because it's not, technically it's like a drug that no one knows about, that people could be taking. So it's not on the list. So, but as far as the rules, I mean, this is just what it is as far as how it goes for casters. It's the rules, you know what I'm saying? Because the levels that she has they're not close to what is characterized as a woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not close. So that's what it is.
But like, are those rules from like the 19, like how old? Like those are from older results, right? Or they had scientists to decide on what a female balance should be? Because I think that's also kind of sexist, and like women
I actually have the numbers.
balances.
Yeah, I actually have the numbers as far as what they say a woman is.
Yeah.
So most women, including elite female athletes, have natural testosterone levels of 0.12 to 1.79 nanomoles per liter, right?
Okay.
While males, after puberty, have 7.7 to 29.4 nanomoles per liter testosterone, right? So Castor is at, I believe she was at 5.5. So that's why people are like, well, it's way above the women and it's kind of close to the men.
Right.
But within what they're classifying as a woman, you know what I'm saying? So within those rules, like it doesn't fall within that. I think that's what it is. It's more a rules issue, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to just allowing her, because if you allow her, you're going against the rules. That's what the issue is. So it's not necessarily it's tough because while you may, whatever you think is right or whatever you think is wrong, it doesn't come into play because the rules are what it is. So I was thinking of this saying earlier, is like, just because it's right doesn't mean it's right. You can twist it however you want to in whatever favor, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? So
if I'm Caster, I'm saying, you know what, bun the IAAF. I got what I needed already, because if you're an athlete, sponsorships, and actually maybe you could touch upon this, Anson, sponsorships is huge for, especially an Olympic track and field athlete. She's already got her gold medals already, you know? So I'm just wondering if the sport maybe needs her more than she needs the sport, because she already got what she needs from the sport. Why can't she now leverage this, you know, use that to get sponsors, and from sponsors then carry on with, you know, with her message that she has. Like, I'm just not, I don't see why she needs any, like, I think the balance is off. I think she can just continue on with her life and actually use this to actually her advantage.
She could, but I think she wants to compete, man.
Yeah, she's an athlete.
I think she wants, this is what she wants to do. She doesn't necessarily want to do the post athlete work while she still feels like she could be an athlete. You know what I'm saying? I would have wanted to be an athlete as long as I could too. But it's like, the afterlife is, every athlete fears that. So we're basically saying, I mean, you could do whatever you could aside from the sport, which is a great idea, mind you, that you're saying. Great idea, but she wants to compete. So it's like, it's not even at the forefront of her mind. You know what I'm saying?
Some people just aren't built the same way. Like athletes, there are some athletes that are just far and beyond other athletes, no matter how hard you train. Look at soccer, for example. You have Lionel Messi and you have Cristiano Ronaldo, and everybody else is sort of second fiddle to them. But you're never going to be that great. You're going to be as great as you can be, and some athletes are just built differently. And then to talk about, you know, whether you want to be the martyr, you want to be the person to sort of stick it to like the IOC and these organizations that are of this archaic idea. Not everybody is built for that light too, because that comes with a lot of scrutiny. Michael Jordan's biggest issue when he was an athlete was that he didn't stand for social justice things during his time, right? You have Muhammad Ali, who gave up being a champion, went to jail because he didn't want to fight in a war that he didn't believe in. You have LeBron James, who's using his platform right now with the I Promise School and his social justice issues, where he's trying to further that cause. But not every great athlete is able to sort of stand above and say, hey, listen, I'll take the criticism, give me all of the money and the sponsorship, and to have companies to back him up as well during that fight. And maybe Caster doesn't have that clout. Maybe a Nike.
Yeah, like Kaepernick had that, but Kaepernick is a unique situation, right? He was able to get that sponsorship. Like Nike got him, but that's very unique. Like with Caster's situation, especially like where she is in the world, it's very hard because where she's in the world, they're not as forward-thinking as we are in North America. So for her, it'd be more complicated. But last question before you wrap it up, I have a question for you guys about like trans athletes. You mentioned trans athletes before. Anson, do you think the Olympics is going to have to, will they allow trans athletes to compete now? Like if you were a man and become a woman, do you think you can run track or no? Because of that rule, a trans woman can't run for women, right?
According to the rules, no.
Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't be, it would have to take some changes made in the rules and stuff like that. There's been a bunch of stuff suggested, and even talking about another classification, which really they don't want it. They don't want to be considered another classification. They want to be what they are. You know what I'm saying?
Winner, like they don't want that title.
Yeah, they don't want, exactly. They feel like they're going to be treated like some freaks or something like that, and they're not. They don't feel like that. They're not that.
They're
you know
not
what I'm saying?
That, exactly.
So that's where it gets tricky. It comes down to perspective, because I mean, I don't know. Some people may, find pride in, the fact that they've truly found themselves. I mean, if you look at it from that perspective, it's more like praised as opposed to like there's some sort of freaks. But in general, they want to be who they are. So that's where we're coming down to. And people are kind of telling them who they are because of what we have set up.
Yes.
And if some changes need to be made there, some changes need to be made there. But as far as how the way the rules are right now, it's not within the rules right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So as of now, trans athletes, if trans or not, if the rule says this, then you have to compete male or female, depending on those measurements, right?
Right. Right.
All right. One last thing on the way out. Hanson, what?
Julian was dying to say something.
I'm just gonna say, like, living in Canada, we're pretty blessed. We, especially in Ontario with the Ontario Human Rights Code, gender identity is a big thing, right? Gender identity is something that we have as part of our law, but unfortunately, that's not the way it is around the world. And that means that when you have something like the Olympics or something that has competing countries that don't see eye to eye with that ideology, you can't have a generic set of rules yet. Until the world starts to have that same mentality and same idea, we can't all come together and have that specific set of rules. It's unfortunate, it's archaic, but until we align our views, we're not going to see anything that sparks any change, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I do have one last thing I have to ask this. I have to. Hanson, what year it was 2008 Olympics?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like, yeah. 2008.
Everybody asked me, because everybody asked me about like what I raced.
I'm so annoyed with it. He's like, God,
Bolt did what he did. He's the fastest man in history, dog.
No.
Okay, go on.
I do but I gotta ask this. So 2008, Bolt, Henry, not over 100 meters, but over 50 meters. We know Bolt picked up his stride at 50 meters. You being a shorter sprinter at 50 meters, who am I putting my money on, you or Bolt?
Honestly, it's a misconception, man, in a couple of things, because in most races he was winning by like 10 meters,
Right.
And so he's not losing anywhere. He was that good. A lot of people, you see how amazing his finish is, so you forget or don't even realize that he was kind of in the mix or ahead by like 10 meters. So
right,
you're not beating him at many distances, man. I give me maybe 5 meters.
5 meters.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And another thing is, as exceptional as he is, as tall as he looks, he's a big figure. He's about 6. I would say when I saw him, I thought he was tall, but he was a little bit shorter than I thought. So, because I'm like 6'3", I would say he's about. I say he's about 6'4". I say he's about 6'4".
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
it was, but he's like, he's
right.
not as slender as everyone thinks. So he looks,
right.
his legs are like up to his
really
rib cage.
Yeah, he's wide.
Yeah.
I actually see him at Carnival every year. He loves the Carnival.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Yeah, it's fun. He was a good like face of the sport, man. Like,
for sure,
you're not gonna have nothing like that again. So
for sure.
I mean,
Anson, you're too humble, man. Just say it. You would have beaten him in the first 50 meters. Just say it. It's okay.
Nah, I'm not about to get. I'm not about to get Bacos thrown at me for talking that foolishness. Nah, it is what it is.
Shout out Usain Bolt.
Shout out.
So let's go on to For the Culture. Nelly J.
For the culture. So for the culture today, we're talking about an athlete. I call him. He's probably the hardest working athlete in the bubble. The reason why is that this guy has a business flourishing called, I think, the Big Face Coffee.
Big Face Coffee.
Big Face Coffee.
Yeah.
Big Face Coffee. He's selling like lattes, Americanos, espresso. Like, this guy has a whole menu. And
from his dorm room.
Hotel room. Yeah, from his hotel room. Okay.
Right.
Now he sells each size for $20. First of all, who can afford a $20 coffee? Only NBA players. But anyway,
that's right.
$20 per coffee, and this guy has a flourishing business, and I mean, it's flying off the shelves. So I think now, because he's doing so well, he's looking to start his own actual business. And as we know, the coffee business is pretty massive in North America. Like, every corner there's a coffee shop everywhere you look. So how dope would it be, guys, to have a black coffee owner with chains everywhere? Like, you see Starbucks, you see Tim Hortons. So I thought it was a really cool topic to talk about how, Jimmy Butler, first of all, he's playing in the bubble. He's excelling in the playoffs, took down the Bucks. And now he's playing in the ECF. But what's your thoughts on this guy playing in the bubble, athletes are mentally dropping, and this guy is still running a business in his hotel room. So feedback on what he's doing, his playoffs, as well on the court, off the court. So just quick little
Julian.
thoughts on that.
Listen, Jimmy Butler said it best. He didn't invite friends and family because he had business to accomplish. Now, he was probably talking about trying to win a championship for the Miami Heat. But Big Face Coffee sort of overtook things because what ended up happening was someone took a picture of it, right? Someone took a picture of it, posted it on Twitter, and then it started to blow up.
Yes.
So what did Jimmy do? Jimmy said, listen, I'm not going to let someone else profit off me, as so many other athletes have had happen in the past. So he filed for trademarks, Big Face Coffee, logo. He even had that shirt made that said Big Face Coffee owner.
Yeah.
So listen, what would it mean? It would mean the world. Does it flourish outside of Miami? Maybe not, but it could be definitely super unique, like a Kawine and Dine or Van Vliet and Eat kind of thing,
Right.
where he can sort of own that. He can take it. I don't think he'll be able to charge the average person $20 for any sort of drink.
No, unfortunately not.
But in order to start a business, why not? Jimmy Butler's a smart guy. He seems focused. He seems dedicated. He gets some investors. It could definitely blow up in the Miami area. And who knows? Kudos to him. About to blow a lead to the Boston Celtics, but that's okay. That's for another day.
So I agree with everything you say, except you're saying about his ability to maybe charge $20 a cup. Remember, he plays in Miami. South Beach is there. Just the popularity that Big Face Coffee is getting and being associated with Jimmy Butler, who's going to be next to Dwayne Wade, he's next in line to be a king in Miami right now. So I think, you know what, it's like small, medium, large at $20. I think if you're visiting South Beach and you can actually have a cup that says Big Face owner, and that means something, why wouldn't you pay $20 for the cup, which you could take home as a souvenir? People pay, $30 for a t-shirt to say Miami, you know what I'm saying? Why not pay $20 to get a coffee and a cup, Big Face, you know what I'm saying? That's why I think he's smart getting the trademark on those things, because it could be very big in Miami, and Miami's definitely a tourist destination. So people want to go, who wouldn't want to come back to Toronto here and say, hey, you know what, I got this in Miami as a memento of going to South Beach. So I think,
that's fair. That's good. I like that.
I don't know why I'm still on this, but when Janelle was like, it's something along the lines of, it's good to see a black man with chains everywhere. I was like, black man in chains. the climate made my antenna go like, hold on. But anyways, I got you. In the bubble, he should be charging $100 a cup. Really?
Yep.
All those people have money, and it would be cool to have, once he gets out, you get the discounted price of $20 for Big Face Coffee or whatever. I think he could do it like that. But if I was him in the bubble, I'm charging $100 to everybody, and they'll pay it. They'll pay it, and he'll have a real come up when he comes out of there. Yeah, he'll have a come up still, but it's still. He got money, so it's going to be a come up. But he could have a come up.
I think a lot of his customers are his own teammates, because I'm just not seeing not seeing Jason Tatum in the middle of the night having a coffee fix, knocking on his door, being like, Jimmy.
It's true. It'd be funny if they did though. That'd be interesting to explore. I doubt it, but interesting to explore.
Maybe pre-playoffs bubble. It was more, other teams, right? But now playoff, everyone's sort of locked down. He's got business to take care of.
Agreed.
So real quick, I'm gonna drop a gem. So what I do, I have 5 quick questions on coffee because it's kind of relevant. Coffee is the second most traded commodity in the world, next to crude oil. So first one, United States has one major state that produces 90+% of all the coffee in the United States. What state do you think that is?
Texas.
Utah.
New Mexico.
Hawaii.
Whoa.
That makes sense.
Really?
That makes sense.
Because coffee requires a certain amount of quality of soil to grow. So the coffee beans, so Hawaii is what's mostly dominating, and that's what keeps the U.S. in regards to into the coffee business. So next one, there's what's called the Big Four: Kraft, Procter and Gamble, Sara Lee, and Nestle. Those 4 combined purchase what percentage of coffee worldwide?
I would say like 92%.
I'd say like 44%.
I'll say 45%.
Price is right, this guy. Hey, $1.
50% of all coffee
Yeah.
comes from those big four. Anson.
You guys said 45. Julian, man, he got you like that.
I should have let him go first. Unbelievable.
Last one. The most expensive coffee is $350 a kilo. Now, the price of coffee usually is about $1 to $2 per kilo. So this is remember, it's $350 per kilo. It's extremely rare and cherished coffee. Reason being is this: it comes from an animal, and the animal's digestive system is so basic that they give the animal the coffee bean, the animal poops it out, and then after they poop it out, they brew it, and it's seen as an exquisite, delicacy.
What?
So it's pooped. Yeah, it's regurgitated poo coffee.
Coffee?
Yes. So it's the most expensive coffee in the world.
That's
I'm going to give you the animal that this is coming from, this poop
Jesus.
coffee.
That's
It's coming from...
I've heard of it.
You have?
Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
It's coming from A, a cat, B, a turtle, or C, a bird.
I would say turtle. I'm guessing.
I'm gonna go bird.
It's a cat.
Oh, Anson, you've done this before, Anson.
No, I heard about this. I heard about this nastiness before, yo.
Yeah.
It's a cat.
It's an Asian palm cat. Apparently, they do it, and that's the most rare and cherished coffee in the world at $350 a kilo. Just wanted to grow on, just drop a gem. That's all.
If you've ever had cat coffee, poop coffee, what do you call it? Please let us know. I'm curious. I want to know, we're curious to know what it tastes like and why you did it. But
apparently, it's in Indonesia. That's where you have to go to get it. Because that cat is
Julie's face is like, no. No.
It's a new take on brown water.
All right, let's go to That's Absurd.
That's absurd. Faheem, who was absurd this week, Faheem?
Okay, so let's make this quick. Doc Rivers, 0-8, when a chance to clinch a conference finals berth. 0-8. I did hear footage from Phil Jackson back in the day when he had a Game 7 with the Lakers, and he said something along the lines of, and you know how they have wired in, and you can actually hear them over talking in the timeout. And the audio picks up Phil Jackson saying to his team in a huddle, listen, and it's deep in the game. Listen, just hang in there. This is a Game 7. Doc Rivers will find a way to lose a Game 7. So
he said that?
He said that. I heard the audio myself. I was like, wow. So this is a reputation that's been chasing Doc Rivers his entire career. He's had success early. He was Coach of the Year early in his career. He won the championship in Boston. But anything after that, it's been Lob City failures and now this failure. So what's your thoughts real quick? Because this is completely absurd. He's 0-8. Been trying to get the conference finals. What do you guys have to say? Nelly J.
So he coached 6 teams that have blown 3-1 or 3-2 series leads. And, we all saw Clippers' demise. Shout out Jamal Murray. Shout out Kitchener.
Oh, yes.
But I would say, even though, yes, it's a bad reputation, that game that they lost, that wasn't on Doc Rivers. That's straight Kawhi and Paul George choking. They had no points in the fourth quarter at all. And if you watch, the game, they were PG hitting the side of a backboard. That's not on Doc Rivers. That's just PG 13%, as Faheem called him last week, right? So it's hard because he's a good coach, but I just feel like either he's not coaches have to have a team feel confident, right? They have to get you mentally prepared for a game. I don't know if Doc maybe is mentally toughening his players. Because, Phil Jackson, if you watch what he did with the Bulls, right? He had them reading books, had them doing all these things off the court to get them prepared for final tough, games. And I'm not sure if Doc's philosophy of his players are helping them to close out series. Because you're blowing multiple 3-1 leads. That's a lot. So they're winning games, but they're not winning series. So something is off. And unfortunately, Doc is the only common person in all of these 6 teams. And it's unfortunate because I think he's a good coach, but something is wrong. Something is, so yeah, it's absurd that he's done it. It's absurd that he has 0 out of 8. That's bad.
I want to go to Anson next.
Sorry.
Are you sure? Because I don't know how much longer Julian can hold out.
That's okay. Anson, you go. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
No. Salivating over there.
I'm leaving him last. Best for last. Best for last. Go ahead.
Okay. I think that Doc Rivers is taking a lot of heat that Nick Nurse isn't. And also, if you think back in Miami days when the Big Three first started with LeBron, and I mean, Spoelstra lost that first year. Spoelstra was probably the best coach in the NBA, in my opinion, right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you fault him for being given this position after 1 year? I mean, he's got to learn the team. They got to learn each other. They got to develop. And they should have won that series. It's okay. It's the 7th game. You're the better team. The better team should win. If the better team doesn't win, that's coaching. Totally get that. Okay. But at the same time, he's taking heat. Nurse is over there chilling somewhere after coming off of a season where we were champions, and we gave up a game 7 that we should have won, in my opinion, too. So I'm not saying that we're to blame Nurse. I'm just saying he ain't taking no heat. My boy Vader Games had mentioned this to me. I didn't really think about it. And I'm like, he isn't taking any heat. But even now, up to now, Doc Rivers after this 1 year is taking some serious heat. Like, give him another year to take this kind of heat. You know what I'm saying? Because Nurse is somewhere chilling after 2 years.
But
the thing is,
8, though,
I gotta say, yeah, like Nick Nurse is 0 of 1 in Game 7. You know, like we're talking about a man that's 0 and 6.
Okay, he's 0 and 6. But you have to remember he's been put in that position 6 times. He's obviously done something right. He's got championships. There must be something to what Doc is doing.
He's got
one.
One,
But I'm saying
his name is Nick Nurse.
If he, okay, Nick got a championship, but he landed. Look where he landed. Yo, throw me in and let me coach them last year. I might have done all right still.
But look who Doc had. Doc, hold on.
No, I get that. But we had a culture that was building. We had a culture that was building from the team to the fans to the city. Everything was building. The Clippers has always been bad. So,
what about the Celtics? They're 1 of 3 with Boston.
Okay, I understand that, but even still, one out of 3, okay, he got 1. But I'm just saying, at this stage, for him to put the heat on him that he's getting right now for the Clippers, I don't know how I feel about that, because even what I'm watching, the players just seem to play bad. I know people want to blame Siakam, but I'm just saying that I feel like we had more of an opportunity to win than the Clippers did, because Denver's good. Denver's nice. I think that's another thing. People don't realize how nice they are. So they lost. I get it, but he got into a new situation, and I feel like some other questions need to be asked. And he's taking heat, and Nick is chilling.
Right.
He is chilling.
Fair enough.
Right. So, all right, Julian, unleash
we appreciate your patience.
Listen, I hope Doc Rivers coaches the LA Clippers for the next 15 years. Because if that's the case, it means the West is safe from ever crowning the Clippers a conference champion or make it to the NBA Finals. Now, it's not all bad with Doc Rivers. Listen, you can't give someone Coach of the Year and then blame the players and say that it's their fault and not really Doc's fault. Mm-hmm. My thing is, Paul George, Kawhi, the rumors coming out of what happened with their Game 7 debacle was that guys were tired in the fourth quarter. And in the playoffs, what ends up happening is you shorten that 10-man bench or 10-man team into a 7-man team, a 2-man bench. And if you have guys who are wanting to come out, and the rumors were that they were asking to be subbed out, if that's the case, as Doc, you do have to manage that. You can't just say, PG put up a terrible game or Kawhi didn't show up. Doc's job is to manage. Eric Spoelstra might be the only person to ever survive a LeBron James wanting to have the coach fired, because everywhere else, LeBron James got what he wanted. And there were times in Miami where he decided that Spoelstra wasn't the guy, got into actual altercations verbally on the sidelines. Spoelstra's still there. And as Anson said, might be the best coach in the NBA. I still think it's Brad Stevens. I think that's just my impartial decision. But with Toronto Raptor fans, now I'm coming for you guys next. You win 1 championship. And all of a sudden it's, oh, we did this in such a great way. Nick Nurse did this. He did this, whatever. If that ball bounces, rims out, you don't beat Philadelphia, you lose
Totally
in
agree.
overtime.
I totally agree.
Okay,
totally agree.
It's a way different story. But not very often do you have a Kawhi Leonard who at the time, load management or whatever, was the best player for the Toronto Raptors to join the culture that Masai had already built. The foundation was there. He was the piece that took them over. Now, you can't say that it's all on Nick Nurse. Yes, he did better than Dwayne Casey when adjusting in game. But you can't just, throw it on Nick Nurse as he's the guy and Doc Rivers isn't. Doc Rivers has been further in the playoffs than any other head coach right now that's still coaching outside of maybe Eric Spoelstra. Nick Nurse has to be there for another 10 years. Let's see the resume. Let's see what ends up happening. Because Boston did it, Doc did it with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo, Paul Pierce, and then a bunch of other missing pieces, and he found a way to make it work. He did it with the LA Clippers with Blake Griffin. Is he a superstar? Probably not.
He was.
Paul, sure, he could catch a ball and he could dunk and save with DeAndre Jordan, but Chris Paul was the engine that made that team work. And Doc Rivers found a way to make it work with that team. Now, this may seem like I'm coming to the defense of Doc Rivers. I don't think it's as bad as people are making it seem, but 0-8 with Lob City, with some of the teams that they've gone up against, losing games where you've been up multiple double-digit leads 16, in the fourth 19, quarter.
20 points.
Give Doc an extension. Let him be the owner. Let him move to Anaheim and change it to the LA.
Julia's like, Docs. I don't care because I want Lakers to always win it.
It looks bad.
Listen,
it looks bad.
I mentioned this. I've seen this before. In the hierarchy of LA basketball, you have the Lakers, you have UCLA, you have the Sparks, you have USC, you have the YMCA, you have the Dennis
I can't stand you.
You have, your grandfather's old man league, and at the very bottom of the list, with no number because you forgot how bad they are, is the LA Clippers. It's never going to happen. LA's got one team. Eat it, Pat Beverly, for trying to tell them that LeBron James, once they sign Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, is over for them. Bye-bye.
Yes. So, question for you guys. I think they said that they might move the Clippers somewhere else. Did you see that somewhere, Julie? Like a rumor?
Yeah.
Maybe like Seattle?
Steve Ballmer, the coach, ended up purchasing the LA Forum a piece of property of the LA Forum from the owner of the New York Knicks, James Dolan, who owned that property. So the idea is that the LA Clippers in 2023 or 2024, whatever, sometime in the 2020s, is going to move the team out of the Staples Center into their own arena that they can then thrive. And they'll probably rebrand outside of the Clippers. There'll be something completely new in a different environment, building in a multi-complex, similar to what Stan Kroenke did with the LA Rams in SoFi Stadium. And so that is what just happened. The deal got finalized this year. It's just a matter of time now before the Clippers move out of Staples Center, the home that the Lakers built.
Yeah, because you know what?
But still in LA?
Kind of annoying.
Yeah, still in LA.
Still in LA.
The NBA will never allow there not to be two teams in LA, because regardless of how bad the Clippers are, they still generate money. They still generate money, and they still bring in people, but they have to move on somewhere else.
You know what? I feel bad for them because it's like they're like that like adopted brother.
The redheaded stepchild.
It's like Lakers, Staples Center. Oh yeah, Clippers plays here too. Like I feel bad. Like they're like always getting shafted. So I think maybe having their own arena, their own culture. Because right now they're like the adopted little brother that wasn't really wanted by the older brother. That's what exactly happening. So
I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference. I honestly don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference. So I think they should get up out of there, man.
The pressure's on, though, because if they don't get it done next year.
Remember, Kawhi's knees aren't going to last, y'all. And PG's back, whatever his injuries are, he ain't going to last either. Those two are going to be done
in
like
needed
4
us.
years.
Kawhi needed us.
Yes.
He needed us.
An important note.
And we needed him.
An important note about the Clippers: they don't have a first-round pick until 2027. With all
that's right. You know what? Their first-round pick in 2027. Guess what? He's in the 6th grade right now.
Yeah.
Their 2027 pick is in the 6th grade right now.
Yeah, they could be in trouble, man.
But the only thing to remember: Steve Ballmer has money, And so that means the Clippers will always be competitive as long as he wants to put money into it. Because of the luxury tax to eat that money, the Clippers always will have a chance to go out and sign somebody and be relevant again.
That's right.
But not to you though, Julian. And you're
listen, keep Doc Rivers there. Like I said, it's a Laker town. This is what you get for covering up the Laker championships at Staples Center during home games.
Yo, the hate runs deep.
That's it.
Oh man. Well, guys, that was episode number 6. Thank
6.
you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. It was a lot of fun. Before we close out the episode, we want to give our guests shout outs, a chance to shout out somebody, something, a show, a group, whatever you want. So I will go with Julian first.
Listen, shout out Good Rookies, man. You guys, your podcast is incredible. You guys have excellent talent that comes on. I'm not just speaking because I'm here, mostly because Anson's here. The fastest man, 40-meter dash. Heard it here first. But, shout out to the podcast game right now. It's a community. If you have someone you want to listen to, you have voices. I love your platform, elevating people. If you want to listen, Big O Podcast. We're on Instagram. We're everywhere you get your podcast. Hopefully, actually, maybe I'll get you guys to come on in a future episode. And
nice.
Sure.
Nice.
If you want to.
Oh, no doubt.
Man.
No doubt.
No doubt.
As far as me, big up the Good Rookies. Big up track and field. And shout out to everybody who's somebody. You know who you are.
Ooh,
I love it. Everybody who's somebody.
deep. All right. My shout out. I want to shout out our 2 guests. I mean, I'm really I'm ecstatic to have you both on tonight. Both did a great job tonight. I want to reiterate once again, Big O Podcast. Take them in. Anson, once again, we want to thank you very much for coming out. Also, good seeing you again.
Yeah, same, man.
And I guess that's it. Well, let's put this one in the books.
Oh, I'll do my shout out quickly. I want to shout out our guests, of course. You guys are awesome. I want to shout out actually just to like all the entrepreneurs, all my creators, all my creatives, like Julian, Anson, you guys are storytellers in your own right. So big up all the creatives out there. We know, especially with the pandemic, it is difficult, it's hard, but this is your passion project. Keep pushing, keep at it. And I want to big up, I think it's called the Black Effect podcast group.
Yes.
Charlemagne started his own podcast group and media company to promote Black voices. So big up the Black Effect. And again, it's so good seeing stuff like this coming out of the pandemic. There's a lot to be upset about, but there's a lot of good things happening. So to keep your head up, and creatives, big up and keep pushing it, keep the mark. So shout out to you guys.
Nice. Episode 6 in the books.
Episode 6.
Good Rookies Podcast.
Share your thoughts, comment, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to have Big O and Anson's information. Big O Podcast, Julian, of course, and Anson Henry's information. I'm going to have that in all of our podcasts everywhere, so you guys can take a look, check them out, subscribe to their channels, and support our own in the GTA.
That's right. Hashtag Good Tuesdays. Look for us every Tuesday, and just support Good Rookies Podcast, episode number 6, and we out.
Peace.
Peace.